Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new around here, I'm Amy and I make videos on absolutely everything coloured pencil related. Today's video is a little bit different as I'm recapping my Huevember challenge for you. As it is the last day of November, I thought this would be completely appropriate. So if you don't know what Huevember is, it's basically a daily art challenge, a little bit like Inktober, but instead of having different drawing prompts each day, you get a colour hue prompt, and whatever you decide to draw or create has to be predominantly in that day's hue. And there's a different hue for each day of November, ranging from yellow all the way through to orange, pink, purple, blue, green, and then yellow again. Now, there is absolutely no way that I could have produced a drawing a day with my current schedule, so I decided to come up with my own take on this challenge and to do a weekly Huevember, so do a drawing a week for Huevember, and incorporate 7 to 8 different hues into one drawing. That way I could create something that aligns with my style, my realistic style, and spend more time on a piece. And this was a much easier task for me, and to be honest, a little bit more fun and challenging, as I love creating surreal looking pieces, and I knew that this was going to be the exact outcome, so perfect. So what did I decide to draw? Well, I resorted to my old favourite, eye studies. A lot of you know me for my eye studies, so I thought this was a given. And I picked an eye study reference which I started in pastel earlier in the year and I never finished because pastel's making me cringe. And this was a gorgeous white wolf with orange eyes. This was absolutely perfect because the white fur would be so easy to replicate in all of these different hues. And yeah, that initial thought of it being easy really quickly went away, as you will find out in a moment. If you join in my Sunday live streams, you probably would have seen the first Huevember take form. The first hues being yellows through to oranges, like that sort of dark orange red. And you would have also seen me struggle massively. This always happens when I start a challenge and decide to live stream it. Literally, my mind went blank. I started internally panicking and beating myself down, thinking, oh my god, what the hell have I done? How am I going to do this? You'll never produce anything great with this challenge. It'll end up like the inverted colour challenge fiasco. Let's not even talk about that one. So I was having this inner turmoil screaming inside while trying to keep a cool, calm exterior for my live stream viewers, because, you know, professional. I'm pretty sure you guys could sense and see my dread and loathing for yet another disastrous challenge. It was so difficult at first to get my head around using these alien colours, and when I start a piece I can usually visualise the final outcome like crystal clear, but with this I was completely stumped, and yeah, I didn't really know how this was going to turn out, and that kind of scared the sugar honey iced tea out of me. I calmed myself down inside though and thought about this logically and decided to think of my hues in terms of light and dark tones and sort of take it from there. So I used the dark hues, being the dark orange, as if I was using a dark sepia or a black, and I used the lighter hues, those mega bright yellows, as if I was using a warm or cold grey one. This made it so much easier to render. The dark areas around the eyes would be orange and the white fur would be yellow. Simple, except the oranges just weren't getting dark enough, and another panic ensued of what if I can't get the contrast right. So I reasoned with my live stream viewers, you lovely people, and we decided that using a dark sepia to darken some areas wouldn't exactly be cheating, as the main majority of the drawing was going to be covered in those 8 chosen hues. So yay! Live stream viewers were Huevember geniuses and super supportive of the use of that dark sepia, which was an absolute lifesaver. Seriously, after adding this to the dark areas, I felt so much more comfortable. Contrast started to build and I got into the groove, so that started to become a little bit fun. After that, yellow and orange was a breeze, and I just continued to use light hues for light areas and darker hues for dark areas. Any shadow on the fur was built by layering yellows and then gradually building up to the dark oranges. So the next set of hues were red through pink and a few purple tones thrown in there. Just great. Another set of tones that caused absolute dread, and of course I started this in another live stream, so that panic and fear was there again, so yay! I tried to think of this in the same way as I did the previous hues and use those light hues for light areas and dark for dark, except there wasn't a clear distinction between light and dark like there was with the previous set. So this one I had to choose which hues I was going to use for the light and dark, and I decided that pink was going to be light and purple was dark. And looking back, this was a really obvious decision, but at the time I was just like so overwhelmed I really couldn't even think. About halfway through this drawing I realised that I'd kind of neglected the red hues. I was going for more pink and purple, and when I tried to add those red hues they kind of looked pink anyway, so they are there, they just look pink as hell with all those other tones going on. We're just gonna, yeah, oh well. This wasn't my favourite study out of the 4 that I completed, and that's because I really don't like pink or red. But overall, I think the outcome was okay. It's a lot easier to create contrast with this one as I had some of those dark hues in those purples in there. And I didn't really need to add that dark sepia to push the values further, so that was a real bonus. Next up is my favourite. Blue hues mixed with some purple and going slightly turquoise are just delicious. The finished article of this is just, it's really nice in my opinion, and this was actually the easiest one to complete. And it kind of helped that I had that colour distinction of light and dark hues, and I had that experience of the previous 2 behind my belt. I was confident, I knew what I was doing, and this is the last one that I live streamed, and it was so clear that I was enjoying this one because I just managed to get so much drawn in comparison to the previous streams. Like this one, I don't know, so good. And I used the dark purples and blues to add the dark tones, so around the eyes mainly, and I used the turquoise and the light blues for the lighter tones, so the really light bits in the fur. And when I started with the eyes, it was like something magical, and I don't know, this one just spoke to me for some reason, and everything just sort of fell into place, and I sped along with the drawing process. I just loved creating this study in these hues, and it kind of looked like some kind of icy fantasy thing. My immediate thought was something out of Game of Thrones, you know, those really old dudes with the magic. Marius, a commenter on my Facebook page, pointed out that it's White Walker-esque, and that's the name of the thing I was looking for, so thanks for that, Marius. The eyes are just like little icy crystals, and the turquoise hues just give me little chills, and I just love this study so much. The final week of Huevember is green, my favourite colour, and this one didn't disappoint me either. Like the blue hues, this one was super easy to get my head around as there were light yellow hues and then darker bluey green hues, so straight off the bat this one was easy. I also decided to make this one into a tutorial for my website subscribers because I thought, like me, some people may be intimidated at using odd colours to complete a portrait and might not know where to begin, like me, at the beginning of this challenge. And after drawing 3 studies in completely different hues, I decided to impart my knowledge I learnt on this little journey. This tutorial, incidentally, is now available on my website for £10 per month. I'll leave a link in the description if you want to check that out and walk along with me step by step and learn how to use different hues like this. It's a huge learning curve, believe me, but it is very addictive. Somebody asked me in my Facebook group whether drawing the same study 4 times was boring. Absolutely not. It is different every single time. I absolutely loved this process, and I love using different hues like this, and I think I'm going to incorporate it more into my work in the future. Also on my website, you don't just get this tutorial for £10 a month, you get a whole load of other tutorials, like so many, so I do recommend you go and check that out. Self-plug done there. The only issue that I had with this study is the fact that as I used yellow for my base colour, when it comes to using blues for the darker parts, the 2 colour mixed to create green, obviously, and I already had green colours, but it created this kind of really awesome, not quite turquoise and not quite green colour, and I love it. I also had to use a little bit of dark sepia on this guy as the tones just weren't quite dark enough, and again, I really think this was a good call on my part to do that because it created like this really foresty green colour with a hint of blue, which is just delicious. So what did I think of my Huevember challenge as a whole? Honestly, despite the initial fear and loathing of myself for deciding to do this, I loved the experience. I feel like it's helped me understand colours a whole load better, and it's pushed me right out of my comfort zone, which I think is really important in order to grow as an artist. It's also given me a reason to use all of those neglected coloured pencils which rarely see the light of day, and it's such a huge difference to my usual muted neutral colour palette which I use for most wildlife pieces. If any of you guys are undecided as to whether or not to undertake this challenge, I think it is a huge help to do this kind of challenge. I love the idea of Inktober and all that, to have different drawing prompts to encourage you to draw something that you might not necessarily do, but this Huevember challenge, I don't know, for me personally it's just helped me understand a whole lot more. It has just helped me with my work in progress. If you're having thoughts about whether or not to do it, definitely go ahead and do it. Push yourself out of your comfort zone, grow as an artist, just do something that makes you a little bit scared. Learn from my example here. I was absolutely terrified of this, especially on that live stream, but as I have worked through it and learnt and how to process it and how to look at the reference photo and all that kind of jazz, it's just been a huge help for me. I'd love to hear your guys' opinions on these 4 drawings as well that I created, and I would love to know what your favourite is. Do you like the yellow one, the pink one, the blue one, or the green one? I think my favourite is definitely the blue, with the green being very close behind, but that's just mainly because I love green things. Let me know in the comments below what you think, and did any of you guys attempt Huevember and how did you find it? Let me know in the comments about that below as well. If you like this video, make sure you give it a big thumbs up with that button below, and if you're new around here and you thought this video was extra super duper, then go ahead and click that subscribe button. Maybe even tick that bell icon too while you're at it so you're notified immediately of my new uploads. Speaking of uploads, I upload new videos every single Friday and I live stream most Sundays too, which is always a hoot and great if you want to watch some live drawing, a little bit of struggling like with these Huevember live streams, and you get to be involved with the growing community here. We would absolutely love to have you. Anyway guys, thanks so much for watching and I will see you next week. Bye!